Hello everyone, my name is Sitendra Chaudhary and in this video I am going to discuss geography questions from the 2026 prelims, and in this video I am going to be discussing around 14 questions. But before moving forward into this video, let me clarify few things. Paper of this year was quite different and difficult also, and geography is no different. I would say geography questions were different, and because they were different, they were difficult also. Actually, they were quite tough also. A few questions were actually so tough they were not even attemptable. Because why it was different and difficult? Because the traditional method of preparing geography, it was completely bypassed by UPSC. Traditionally, we rely on NCRTs, we rely on the world physical geography, we rely on the climatology, geomorphology, those sort of questions. But this year, UPSC has completely ditched that particular approach. There were no questions from the world physical geography or the traditional core geography that we say. Most of the questions were from the mapping section. So weightage of mapping section has exponentially increased this year, and there were questions from the human or economic geography also. Few of the questions are of such nature you might be feeling that they are from the economy sections, but still I have included them because they are from the economic geography section. So for the future, we also need to change our approach. I would say this basically, because we can't rely solely on NCRT. Yes, we need NCRT, we need the basic concept so that we can have the basic understanding, but in order to prepare ourselves better for the future prelims, we need to change our approach a little bit. We need to focus more on the mapping and more on the human geography section, or you can say economic section, or the economic part of the geography as well, in which we will talk about the minerals or the industries or that kind of stuff, or infrastructure also. So yes, a few questions are from the current affair also. Geography plus current affair, economy plus geography from current affair. It's very difficult to segregate them in a particular subject, but yes, they were quite difficult, interesting, and little bit different also. So yes, with that approach. And one more thing I would like to discuss is that as a teacher who've been teaching geography for so long, and as a person who is discussing these questions after a few days of the prelims, for me it may sound a little bit on the easier side, because on the hindsight, if you discuss a particular question problem in the past, it may look little bit on the easier side. But when you are sitting in the exam hall, when you have such a lengthy paper, when paper is very tough, you are already very nervous. Okay, so from the student perspective, from a perspective of a person who is sitting in the exam hall in a difficult tough situation, this paper is actually quite difficult, and even the questions of the geography are quite difficult. When you are attempting them these papers in your room study and all that, they might be basically, you might find them a little bit on the easier side, but in the exam hall they are quite difficult. Anyways, let's move forward. I am not going to take that much of time. And one more thing, that I am not going to discuss this question in much of the detail. Reason being, because this is the analysis wala part, this is not a full discussion part. So I'll not be going into like from scratch, because it will take so much of time. I'll be discussing that why particular option is correct or why particular option is incorrect. The same approach we had taken in the questions of when we were discussing science and technology as well. Anyways, let's move forward. This is question number 1. Which of the following statements with reference to the Lake Turkana are correct? This is the largest desert lake in the world. The lake is situated in South Sudan along the eastern fringe of the Sahara Desert. The lake is listed as UNESCO World Heritage Site and is referred to as the Jade Sea. Now let me tell you a few things. There was a question in the previous year also, in 2025 prelims also, from lakes in Africa. And if you see in the last 3 or 4 years, there is 1 or 2 questions from the African country or physical geography of Africa. Sometimes they ask about the some particular river or some particular lake or some particular mineral also. So for the future also, please remember this part. Minerals and the locations in Africa have also become important. But this question is not random question. This question is actually coming from the current affairs. It is difficult question. I would not say it's easy. It's only difficult on the difficult side. Lake Turkana. So for the future, what we need to do? Should we cover each and every lake in Africa, each and every river in Africa? I would say not necessarily, but yes, we should have some idea that which particular river, which particular lake is where. We need to know the locations. We need to know the countries basically bordering that particular water body. But for the exam perspective specifically, we must focus on the topic of the rivers or any physical basic landscape which were in news in last 2 years. ठीक है. There might be questions which were coming in exam which were in news before 2 years, but still I would say 2 year current affair is must. And if you say see this year as well, Lake Turkana was in news. It was in news in New Scientist also and Down to Earth also. If we reject New Scientist, I know UPSC aspirants are not reading these kind of websites, and we even don't recommend you that. But Down to Earth is a very basic website that every UPSC aspirant must refer to this, from the geography, from the economy also, from environment also, and from different perspective others also. Down to Earth के अंदर there was this article, lower water levels in East Africa's Lake Turkana led to more earthquakes. It was a recent study. This basically article was in 2025. So I must say it was from the news. It was from the current affair. So if I go by that logic, this question is easy to moderate because it was in current affair. Let me tell you one thing. If a particular news is coming in the prominent newspapers or the prominent websites, and if question is coming from there, that question is attemptable. But if a question is coming from any random website that we usually don't refer, or any random newspaper and random research paper, that is very difficult to do that, because as an aspirant we can't cover everything. But Down to Earth, The Hindu, Indian Express, or prominent Indian newspapers, because all the current affair magazines also cover them. So this question is attemptable because it was coming from Down to Earth and it was in news as well. But if you see, we have this Lake Turkana here. Yes, we have this Lake Turkana and we have this Sahara Desert. So Lake Turkana is not in the Sahara Desert. That is one thing that you need to see. This is Sudan. Okay, let me just show you another thing. Okay, this is Lake Turkana here. This is South Sudan. This is Ethiopia. This is Kenya. Okay, and here we have Lake Turkana. Now, if you look at the options, here, what this option is saying, the lake is situated in the South Sudan along the eastern fringe of the Sahara Desert. First of all, this is not on the eastern fringe of the Sahara. You can say this area is eastern fringe. This is not eastern fringe. And you must also have read about different climatic regions in the world, where we have Sudan type of climate, savanna type of climate, which is basically a grassland. It is not desert, it's a grassland. It is one of the most productive grassland in the world. So because this is situated in the grassland, we cannot call that this is on the fringe of the Sahara Desert. Yes, it's a dry area, definitely. This is a dry area, that is for sure. And that is why we also call it the largest desert lake in the world. But this is not on the eastern fringe in the Sahara Desert, and this is not situated on it covers a little bit of the South Sudan, but no. So I would say this statement is incorrect. And the largest desert lake in the world, yes, this is the largest desert lake in the world. This is also called Jade Sea because there is a blue color in this. And this is UNESCO World Heritage Site as well, because it was in news. So I just assume that you must have read about it. Otherwise, it was a difficult question in that way, but it was in news, so we must have covered the Turkana. So this is a largest desert lake. This is also the largest alkaline lake as well. This is called Jade Sea because of its green and bluish color, and you can say see there. UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1997. It has no outlet. Only one river, which is Omo River of Ethiopia. It contributes 90% of its water. There is no outlet. There is no river body, there is no river, there is no stream, there is no any water body which is taking water out of it. So most of the water is actually evaporating, and this zone is basically quite tectonically quite active also, and you will find a lot of earthquakes as well there. So yes, that was about Lake Turkana. And if you see the statements, first statement is absolutely correct, and the this is UNESCO World Heritage Site JDC. Yes, that is also correct. So we have this 1 and 3, which is B only. So that is the answer. Okay. So let's move to the next question. Look, that question was from current affair, but it was difficult to attempt basically. Anyways, let's move to the question number 2. Ships from which of the following countries have to cross Strait of Hormuz to reach out to the Indian Sea? Strait of Hormuz was very much in news. Middle East was very much in news. So yes, question was expected from there. Which question was expected? We can't say this, but yes, this whole region was in news. So we must know the locations of each and every country. We need to know the water bodies also, because from the mapping section, we must know this. Even in our classes also, I always suggest in our current affair videos, I always suggest us as a from the perspective of a student, we should know where each country lies. Even we should know how to draw map of Middle East by our own hand. We should know where is the location of particular country. We should know where are the water bodies, where are the important rivers. So yes, this area was quite important, and we must know the location. Where is Egypt? Where is Syria? Where is UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain? Which are the water bodies? We have Red Sea, we have this Gulf of Aden, Bab al Mandeb, we have this Strait of Hormuz, which was very much in news. Na? We have Persian Gulf here, Strait of Hormuz there, Gulf of Oman also, then we have Arabian Sea or the Indian Ocean there. So yes, we must know the locations of it. Now if you read the options, so ships from which of the following countries have to cross Strait of Hormuz to reach out to the Indian Ocean? Basically it's talking about, let's say, Arabian Sea. Bahrain, Syria, Qatar or Egypt. And if you look at the positions of them, look, Egypt, this is Strait of Hormuz, this is Egypt. So if Egypt wants to come to, or the people from the Egypt want to come to Indian Ocean, they don't need to go there like this, na? They can simply cross Red Sea, Bab al Mandeb, Gulf of Oman, and they can go to Indian Ocean. So you can reject option Egypt. Egypt is not there. So I can basically reject this 4, so that I can also reject this as well. Now we have Syria, and we know the location of Syria. This is the location of Syria. So Syria, it is not necessary that Syrian people will cross this Strait of Hormuz to come to Indian Ocean. They have other options also. Na? They can simply go to here. They will just cross the Suez Canal and they can come here. So Syria can be rejected. Syria can be rejected, right? So I would reject Syria as well. Option 2 as well. Here is option 2. I will reject this. Option 2. I will reject this also. Even if you don't know Qatar and Bahrain, still you will reach to the right answer. Because Egypt and Syria are easy to eliminate basically. Yes, Qatar is there and Bahrain is there. We have seen the location also. Yes, we have Qatar here. We have Bahrain there. In order to go to the Indian Ocean, they need to actually cross this Strait of Hormuz. So these 2 options are correct. So I would say 1 and 3. Was it easy? Yes. Because it is expected from a serious aspirant that they must know these sort of locations. They must know where that particular country lies. It is as expected from the serious aspirant, and you must do that in your mapping work also. Strait of Hormuz very much in news. So yes, it was expected. I would say it was easy to do that. Even in the exam hall, it was attemptable. If you know where is Syria, where is Egypt, where is Qatar, Bahrain, if you know the locations, it was easy to do. Anyways, let's move to the question number 3rd. Which of the following with reference to Indian state is or not correct? So first thing that you must remember is that it is asking not correct. Sometimes we get confused in the exam hall, but you that is why we always suggest you, please attempt more and more test series so that you can be feeling more comfortable in the exam hall, right? Anyways, which are not correct. Uttar Pradesh shares its boundary with the highest number of other Indian states. Rajasthan shares the longest boundary international border among all Indian states. Sikkim is the only state that shares its boundary with just one other Indian state. It was a direct mapping question. There was no current affair involved here. If you have covered your mapping section, this question was doable. But if you have not taken your mapping classes very seriously, this question was extremely difficult. Either you know the answer or either you don't know the answer. And I would say first option was quite easy because every teacher covers that in the classes also. States and the borders and other states also, landlocked states, frontier states, coastal states, border states. This is easy to do. So we very well know that Uttar Pradesh shares boundary with most of the other states as compared to other. Then comes the Assam and West Bengal and as well. But yes, Uttar Pradesh shares boundary with the largest number of other Indian states. If you see, we have Uttar Pradesh here. And Uttar Pradesh is sharing boundary with Bihar, right? Obviously, Jharkhand also, and Chhattisgarh also. Here we can see Chhattisgarh as well, Madhya Pradesh as well. Can see the Rajasthan also. We can see Haryana is also there, Uttarakhand is also there, and Himachal Pradesh as well. So it shares boundary with most of the other states. Yes, that is there. But if you look at the international border, actually, it may look that Rajasthan shares the largest border. But this is not true. Actually, this is West Bengal. West Bengal shares boundary with Bangladesh. Longest boundary, because this boundary is a little bit on the zigzag, right? It is not like kind of straight. So because of that zigzag nature, it actually shares more than 2000 kilometer border with Bangladesh. Okay, so Rajasthan is not the answer here. So we can reject the second statement. and with the rejection of second statement I can reject this, I can reject B and C also, and one is correct, obviously one is correct, but if you see the option we are asked about not correct, right? But first statement is correct, so I can reject first statement because this is actually correct, but question is asking not correct. So first is incorrect, I would say reject this, I would reject this also. Rajasthan says the longest boundary, no, it is West Bengal. So this is correct actually, right? So 2 is there and 2 is here only because in this statement there is no 2. And if you see Sikkim is not, even if you don't know the statement number 3rd, still you can reach to the right answer because statement 2 must be there in the answer because this is incorrect, na? So 2 is there, so I would say C, and 3. Look, Sikkim is the only state, no. There is another state very close to Sikkim. This is Meghalaya. Meghalaya shares boundary only with Assam. Okay, then there is Bangladesh, but there is Assam also. So yes, not only Sikkim, but so this statement is actually incorrect because there is Meghalaya. So I would say 2 and 3. Okay, this is the third question. And if you see, like if you are interested in some facts also, so we have West Bengal, Rajasthan, then we have Arunachal Pradesh, Gujarat and Tripura. And that is there. Yes, we have Meghalaya here. Anyways, let's move to the question number 4. Which of the following geographical, but the lesson that we must learn from the last question is this: mapping is extremely important. International mapping also, especially the regions which are in news, Middle East, South China Sea or Ukraine wala, that whole region was also in news, and Indian mapping also, the states and everything, that is like political map. You should know the political map of India properly. You should know how to draw Indian map with states also, and that is there. So for an serious aspirant and for the next year, please remember that. Anyways, let's move to the question number 4. Which of the following geographical feature or phenomena are associated with the peninsular block of India? Again, question coming from the geography section, and I would say this question is from NCERT also. If you have read your NCERT very seriously, question is doable from there. Okay, let's move to the first option. Submergence of the parts of the western coast due to tectonic activity. Okay, good. Presence of the residual mountain ranges such as the Velikonda Hills and the Mahendragiri Hills. And you know that we have different types of mountains. We have fold mountain, we have block mountain, we have residual mountain, right? So you must have covered in your classes also. And we have old fold mountain, new fold mountain, block mountain and all that. So residual mountains, yes. So residual mountains are basically the remains of the older mountains. Because of the erosion and tectonic activities, a huge part of it is lost, usually from the erosional part and the weathering part. But some things are left behind. It's like Aravalli. You can say Aravalli is also residual mountain because in the past it used to be very tall fold mountain. But now this is residual mountain and a remnant of old mountain basically. Deep V-shaped river valleys formed by the fast moving rivers. Okay. So these are the 3 options, and let me see, show you how. Okay. So this is your Indian Peninsula basically that is talking about. Indian Peninsula is what? And we must have covered in our classes the continental drift theory, okay? And we know millions of years ago it was Pangea, then it was broken into 2 different parts. And if you see, this is the part of India, we call it Indian Peninsular Block. It used to be a part of Madagascar, Seychelles, Africa, Antarctica, Australia, but then it got separated. And once it got separated, it started moving northward, right? More northward, and finally it hit the Eurasian plate, and this is how we have this part here, and we have Himalaya also there. So when Eurasian part or the Tibetan plate and this Indian Peninsular block collided with each other, basically this Himalaya was raised as a fold mountain. We know this part, okay? So this is the peninsular block it is talking about. And if we look, this is the peninsular block. Peninsular block is not a continuous block. For the sake of understanding, we have divided into different parts. We have Karnataka plateau, we have Deccan plateau, we have Telangana, Dandkaranya, and we have Malwa, Bundelkhand, Chota Nagpur, Shillong plateau, Karbi Anglong is there. And if you, there are Jaisalmer hills also, there are Ilai Malai hills also, there are Ramgarh hill also. And if you join all of them, there are these Girnar hills also. This is Indian peninsular block that it is talking about. That is there. Now, look at the options. Submergence of the part of the western coast due to the tectonic activity. When Indian Peninsular block, okay, it collided with the Tibetan block. What happened as a result of that? Or when Indian Peninsular block got separated from Madagascar and Seychelles, there was a rift valley, there was a block mountains. So when it was happening, some part of it was actually submerged under the ocean. Okay, and if you look at the NCERT as well, you can clearly see here the peninsula is formed essentially by the great complex of the very ancient gneiss and the granite. Gneiss and granite are that they are the metamorphic rocks. Okay, which constitute a major part of it. Since the Cambrian period, the peninsula has been standing like a rigid block with the exception of some of the western coast which is submerged beneath the sea and some other parts change due to the tectonic activity. This statement has been directly taken from NCERT. Western coast, some part of the western coast is actually submerged due to the tectonic activity, and if you look at the statement, this statement is taken directly from NCERT. Okay, so this is one of the few questions that which can be solved from the NCERT this year, and if you see the last year and last to last year questions were directly from the NCERT. Anyways, so this question is statement is absolutely correct, and this is asking the correct statement. So one must be there in the answer. So I can reject this because there is no one. Now we are left with A and B. Presence of the residual mountain range such as the Valikonda Hills and the Mahendragiri Hills. Yeah, they are the part of the Eastern Ghats, and these are some of the hills that we can see there. Like we have this Nalkonda, Javadi, Shavroy Hills and all these. These are the residual hills which were a part of the earlier ghats. Okay, these are the Eastern Ghat, part of the Eastern Ghat which are residual. So like we have this Bisoi Hills here, Nandyal Hills, Nallamalla Hills, Aramala Hills, Shechachalam Hills, Palkonda Hills. We have these Valkonda Hills here, Nagari. These are all the residual mountains which were a part of earlier full-fledged mountain. Yes, so that statement is also correct. So I would say 2 is also correct here. No, 2 is also correct. So 2 should be there. This should be the right answer. Even if I don't know the 3, still I can reach to the right answer. So deep V-shaped river valleys are formed by the fast flowing river. Yes, that is true. That is true. That fast moving flowing rivers on the steep valleys actually make V-shaped valleys. But is it happening? Is it happening in the peninsular block? That is the question. Is it happening in the peninsular block? Answer is this is not happening in the peninsular block. Okay, this is not happening in the. So there is this trick. There is this. First statement is correct. So there should be one in the answer, which is this, which is A or B. I can reject this or this because one must be there because this statement is correct. Now, second statement, which is presence of the residual mountains such as the Velakonda, 2 must be there. 2 must be there. Yes. Deep V-shaped valley. Do you find that in the peninsular block? Answer is no. Answer is no. That is a unique particular characteristics of the Himalayan rivers. Because Himalayan rivers are flowing on a steep slope. They are the antecedent river. Himalaya was actually created later on. These rivers are quite old. And Himalaya is not a metamorphic rocks. Most of it is not. It is made of the sedimentary rocks. So these are the soft rocks. So rivers can actually cut down vertically these sedimentary rocks and they can have a deep valleys and the gorges. If you see the Brahmaputra, Indus or Satluj river, they all have deep valleys. But if you look at the peninsular India, peninsular block, their rocks are gneiss, rocks are granite, rocks are metamorphic, are quite hard rocks. And rivers are also not flowing on the steep side. So their vertical erosion is less. Their lateral erosion, which is the horizontal erosion, is actually more. Okay, you can find some gorges there, here and there, but deep V-shaped valleys are a particular characteristics of the Himalayan rivers. So you will not find them in the peninsular block. So that statement can be rejected. Third statement can be rejected. So third statement can be rejected. So I will reject this. I will reject this. First is correct. Second is correct. So I will go with the B. Answer is 4. Quite tricky question. I would say difficult. I would say moderate to difficult. But yes, it is doable question. A serious aspirant must cover this question actually. Okay. Now let's put the question number 5. With reference to the climate of Andaman and Nicobar Island, which of the following statements are correct? Andaman Nicobar, again question from the Indian physical part. The climate can be defined as humid, tropical, coastal climate. Yes, understandable. Island, it's an island. It lies in the tropical latitude also. Coastal is there. Obviously, it is going to be tropical, coastal and the humid. This is done. Okay, it is a correct statement. It receives rainfall from the both southwest monsoon and the northeast monsoon. Usually we call them summer monsoon and the winter monsoon as well. Then we have third. Maximum participation is between December and the May. These two statements are quite tricky. You will not find them in NCRTs, and I would also say that basically this statement is done, but this second statement is very difficult to handle. For that, we need to apply some logical brain. We need to apply some, the critical thinking, and it actually, your mind needs to work a lot here. We have summer monsoon and we have winter monsoon, and we should know the direction also. The summer monsoon that we have is between June, July, August, September, and around 80% of rainfall in India, including Andaman Nicobar, is received during June, July, August, September, these 4 months of monsoon. And direction is southwest. Direction is southwest. We know this. And here we have Andaman Nicobar. Yes, here we have Andaman Nicobar. We receive southwest monsoon rainfall in Andaman Nicobar. Official date that we have is 1st of June. As per Indian Meteorological Department, 1st of June is the official date. But in Andaman Nicobar Island, basically, we receive monsoon during the month of May. 15th of May between 20th of May. That is the date in Andaman Nicobar. But we have winter rainfall also. Why winter rainfall? Basically, direction of the wind is changed. Monsoon is basically seasonal reversal of the wind. So what happens during the winter time? This is the high pressure. In Indian Ocean, we have the low pressure. The wind goes from high pressure to low pressure. But now, when we talk about the winter rainfall or the northeast monsoon, we usually talk about this Tamil Nadu coast. Okay? Coromandel coast. We very well know that Coromandel coast receives a decent amount of rainfall in the winter, because these winds are going to basically capture a lot of moisture from the Bay of Bengal, and they are going to release that moisture there, because when they will hit the this eastern coast part of it, even they can go up to Nilgiri hills also. But nowhere it is mentioned that Andaman Nicobar Island also receive rainfall due to northeast these winds. It is nowhere mentioned. We need to apply our brain. Because when winds are going to travel from northeast to southwest, obviously these islands are going to receive some amount of rainfall. Okay, because they are situated in the middle of a water body, and if they are receiving some winds, they will be receiving some rainfall. I'm not saying very huge amount of rainfall, yes, but they will receive some rainfall. Here you need to apply your brain. And I already told you that June, July, August, September, these are the 4 months, including Andaman Nicobar, where India receives around 80% of its rainfall. So I would say this is not December and May. In winter rainfall, yes, there is winter rainfall, but it is saying maximum precipitation. Maximum precipitation is not December to May. It might be May, June, July, August, or little bit of the September wala part. That is the 4.5 or 5 months where Andaman Nicobar receives most of its rainfall, but not December and May. Okay, so that statement can be rejected in that way. It can be rejected. It is true and it is also true. So I would say B is the right option, which is 1 and 2. Anyways, let's move forward. It was very good question from the logical perspective, little bit on the difficult side also, but you must also remember that you are actually attempting one of the most difficult exam in the whole world. So you must be prepared for that. Anyways, now let's move forward. Identify the river of the Indian subcontinent on the basis of the following information. Again, very good question, difficult to attempt, but if you apply your logical brain, it is doable. You can reach to the right conclusion if you apply logic. Problem with this year paper is that paper was very lengthy. You didn't have much time to sit there and think and apply logic. That is the problem. And if you do that, you might not be able to attempt most of the questions. That is the problem with this year. So you need to manage your time and you need to apply your logical brain. You need to basically retain a lot of information also, and you need to recall a lot of content from the brain. That was the problem. Earlier, time management was never a problem in prelims. This year, it was there. We always used to talk about time management in the mains, but from the next year onwards, we need to focus on time management in the prelims as well. Okay. Anyways, identify the river of the Indian subcontinent on the basis of the following information. It has an antecedent drainage system. What is the meaning of antecedent drainage system? We know we have antecedent and we have consequent. Consequent river is basically which flows according to its slope or the landscape. These consequent rivers are actually originated after the landscape was generated, but antecedent rivers are older than the landscape on which they flow. Let's say we talk about Satluj river, or we talk about Brahmaputra river, we talk about these rivers. These are the antecedent rivers because they existed before Himalaya was there. When Himalaya was there and there was uplifting going on, these rivers actually did lot of erosion and they made their own path by cutting down the mountains. Because mountains came later and they were earlier there. So they basically cut down the mountain and flow. That is antecedent river. So there are lots of rivers which are cutting down the Himalayas. They are making their own path. They are called antecedent river. Himalaya is very famous for the antecedent rivers. You will not find any antecedent river in the peninsular block or in the Western Ghats. Most of the rivers in the Western Ghats basically originate on one slope, on one side, and they flow on that side. That is why Western Ghat is a water divide also. Himalaya is not a water divide. Western Ghat is a water divide. Vindhya Satpura is a water divide. Aravalli is a water divide. Himalaya is not. Anyways. It has antecedent river drainage system. Okay, it flows through 3 countries. We'll see that. It originates in the Tibetan plateau and is an important river from the irrigation. So major rivers that originate in the Tibet plateau, there is Indus river. Yes, there is Satluj river. There is Brahmaputra river. Teesta river is not originating in the Tibetan plateau. Yes, Teesta river is antecedent river, because it is cutting down actually through the ranges of Himalaya, we can say that, but this is not originating in the Tibetan plateau. So I will eliminate Teesta river here. Now, it does not form distributary. And if we look at the drainage system, we should know what is the meaning of tributary, what is the meaning of distributary. Right? We know the tributary of Ganga, we know the tributaries of Yamuna. Basically, these are the other helping rivers. These are the smaller rivers or the streams. They actually meet, they converge with the main river and they add water to it. And this is how it works. So like in Ganga, we have this Ram Ganga, Gomti, Ghagra, Gandak, Kosi, Yamuna. These are all the tributaries. That is happening there when river is coming from its source. But when river is about to enter into the ocean, okay, when it is about to make a delta, what happens? Because close to the mouth of the river, slope becomes extremely gentle and the velocity of the river becomes extremely slow. What it does? It starts depositing its sediments, which is like a clay or sand and all that. It starts depositing its sediments there and it bifurcates into different smaller branches. Okay, it is flowing, let's say it was flowing, okay, let's say it was flowing like this. But when speed becomes very low, it starts depositing sand and everything in between, and there are different channels now. There are different channels. Okay, these different channels are called basically distributaries. So it distributes its load into different streams, and this is how it makes delta also. So where you will find the distributaries majorly in the deltaic region. Okay, now if you see, we have the Satluj river here. We have Satluj river, we have Indus river, we have our Satluj river, we have our Brahmaputra river. Now, Brahmaputra river makes it distributaries? Yes. Indus river is making distributaries? Yes, because Indus river is also making delta. Brahmaputra is also making its own delta. Satluj river is not making its own delta. Satluj river is a tributary of Indus. So it does not have time to make delta. Even it does not have that much of the load or the sediments to make distributaries, because it directly meets Indus river. It is not going to make distributaries. Distributary is basically phenomena or a feature that you will find in the deltaic region basically. And we have lot of distributaries when it comes to Brahmaputra river or the Indus river or Ganga. Let's say we have Ganga. So we have Farakka Barrage here. Right? There is a place called Gori to Farakka Barrage. Here, Ganga basically bifurcates into 2 distributaries. One distributary that we have is Bhagirathi Hooghly and other is Padma. Padma is a distributary. Bhagirathi Hooghly is also a distributary. The same way we have Brahmaputra also. It also makes lots of distributaries here. And for you, I have also made some names. Like in the Ganga, we have this Bhagirathi Hooghly, Jalangiri, Ichamati, Vidyarani, Malta. These all are the distributaries of Ganga. We have this Aryan Khan. Aryan Khan is sometimes it is also mentioned distributary of Brahmaputra, but actually it is a Brahmaputra distributor of Brahmaputra also. We have Bhairav, Gorai. These are all the distributaries of this. So we have Ganga. Then we have one distributary Hooghly and we have one distributary Padma. Then we have Brahmaputra, which is coming from there as a part of Jamuna. They are both meeting, and as a Meghna, that Meghna also have different distributaries. I think you have understood it, what is the meaning of tributary and distributary. So yes, Indus has distributaries. It is also flowing through India, China and Pakistan. Satluj is also flowing China, India and Pakistan. Brahmaputra is Tibet, India, and then entering into Bangladesh. So this statement is correct, this is correct, this is correct. But in case of Satluj, it does not make any distributary. So this fourth statement is true only in the case of Satluj. So I would go with Satluj. Okay, very good question, high quality question, I would say. And from a exam like UPSC, you actually do expect that sort of question, है ना? Very logical question. Yes, difficult side, little bit on the difficult side, because in exam hall you have a lot of nervousness as well. But if you are confident enough, you have revised your content enough, you have done the map work properly, then I would say this question was doable. Anyways, Tungrahua volcano, which was declared a global geopark by UNESCO in 2025, is situated in which of the following? Very, very direct question, simply from the current affair, and I would say it was very difficult question. I would say 99.9% student did not have basically attempted this. That is what I expect. Because in our major magazines, the current affair magazines, so the newspaper, this topic was not covered. This is directly coming from the UNESCO website, because this was declared by UNESCO as a global geopark. So basically there are two locations which were declared by in Ecuador. Two locations were there which were declared as a geopark. One was this this volcano, and another was this Wakan Tungruhana. Okay, so this was there. So I would say this was direct question. It was Ecuador. Either you know it or either you don't know it, because there are going to be some question in UPSC every year where you will not have any idea where it came from. You just need to leave it. That is there. So यहाँ पे you can't do some trick or anything. There is no elimination, nothing. Either you know it or you don't know it. Anyways, now let's move forward. Which of the following connectivity project is part of the cooperation between India and ASEAN member countries? So first of all, you must know what are the ASEAN countries. If you know that which are the ASEAN countries, this question is doable. And as a UPSC aspirant, serious aspirant, I basically expect it from you that you must be knowing these different groupings. ASEAN grouping, BRICS grouping, EU grouping, NATO grouping, all these groupings or all those groupings where India is a part of. You must know those groupings. It is extremely, extremely important. Okay, now Kaladan Multi-Modal Transit Transport Project, IMT Trilateral Project, and Agartala Akhura Rail Project. I would say this question was little bit on the difficult side. I think only 5%, 7% student might have basically attempted this. It was a little bit on the difficult side because very, very factual. But if you look at the current affairs, this question was actually covered by the major newspapers. If you see, Kaladan project between India, Myanmar, to be operational by 2027. This was covered in the Hindu. This is, you say, July 7, 2025. Indian envoy review key trilateral highway project in Myanmar. This is also talking about another India-Myanmar-Thailand corridor, which is IMT. Again, coming from the newspaper. So these two were actually in news. These two were actually in news. And if you see the Agartala, Akhura, this was covered by Indian Express in 2023. Little bit on the older side. That's why I said this question was little bit difficult. But if you say Agartala Akhura cross-border rail link project set to be inaugurated on November 1, all you need to know about it, covered by the major newspaper. And if you see the Kaladan project, which was very much in news, so if we have Calcutta here, we have Sitwe here, and Myanmar is part of the Asian country that we very well know. There is Sitwe river, then there is this Kaladan river. Basically, this is the Kaladan river on which this project is actually named. So from Sitwe, we are going to take a river boat. We will reach to this Palatua, and then Kalatwa, and then we have this Jorinipui. Please remember this name, Jorinipui. It will again come in another question. Jorinipui is basically in a city or port city, or port bhi nahi keh sakte, it's a city, transit city in Mizoram. Okay, from here you will go to Longtai and Aizawl. That is there. So this Jorinipui is also important, sort of important. So we have seen that this ASEAN is there. So Myanmar is a part of ASEAN, then Vietnam and all these countries. So yes, which of the following are the part of India and the ASEAN? Kaladan project is there. Yes, Myanmar is there. So Myanmar is a part of ASEAN. It is India, Myanmar, Thailand. Name is itself is saying it's a part of ASEAN. So this is also correct. Agartala Akhora rail line. Agartala Akhora rail line. Agartala Akhora rail line. If you see, Agartala Akhora rail line. If you see, Agartala Akhora rail line. If you see. Myanmar is not a part of it. Okay. A 15-kilometer rail link will boost cross-border trade and significantly reduce the time between Agartala and Kolkata via Dhaka, Bangladesh. It's a part of India and Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not a part of ASEAN. So we can reject this statement basically. And if you read here as well, a good train from Bangladesh at this Agartala and Agartala, the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and everything, you can see there are a lot of information giving here. Agartala with Akhora in Bangladesh. Akhora is in Bangladesh. And it is India, Bangladesh, not ASEAN. So I will reject statement number 3. Only 1 and 2 are correct. So I will go with A. Okay. A little bit on the difficult side, I would say. Especially when paper is so lengthy and we are nervous in the exam hall. But as a serious aspirant, I think you could reach to the right conclusion here. Anyways, let's move to the question number 9. Consider the following statement with reference to the Sagar Mala program of the government of India. Sagar Mala was very ambitious project by government of India, and it was basically, the idea was to develop the port in India, because India has a large coastline, so and we have lot of potential in our ports, and thankfully the position of India is such that it is in the center of the Indian Ocean as well. So India can exploit its good position basically in the geopolitical and the trade level. So we had this Sagarmala project so that we can have this port connectivity, we can have the modern port, we can be connected with the international transit route as well. So that is why we had this Sagarmala project, because we had a lot of potential but we were not able to basically take out benefit out of it. Now we have this Sagarmala project. Now read the statement. Statement number 1. The Sagarmala program seek to achieve port-led economic growth through cost-effective and sustainable coastal infrastructure. Yes, Sagar means ocean. Sagarmala means we are going to connect different ports and we are going to make like a necklace. Sagar means ocean and Mala means necklace. So we are going to connect all these ports with the modern facilities and we are going to make this necklace. That is why this is called Sagar Mala. Okay. Anyways, so that is very correct. The success of the Sagarmala project is reflected in the significant growth in the coastal and the inland waterway shipping, along with the improved global port renting. But that is why India is actually investing thousands and thousands of crore rupees. And if you see, India's maritime infra push reworked 75,000 crore Sagarmala 2.0 likely in 2026 budget. 75,000 crore rupees we have invested. Obviously, our ranking is going to improve. Right? Sagarmala 2.0 aims to position India as a global maritime innovation hub aligned with Amrit Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat and Viksit Bharat of 2047. Because this sort of infrastructure takes a lot of time to develop. Okay, so obviously we are aiming for 2027, which is going to be like Viksit Bharat. So the project has this in mind. So we need to work today so that in future we can have that sort of connectivity. So that is there. Now, which of the following relationship among the following statements are correct? Statement 2 validates the effectiveness of the strategies envisioned in the statement number 1. Statement number 2 is saying that we are going to improve our global ranking. Okay. And we are also going to basically significant growth in the coastal, obviously. And statement 1 is saying it is a port-led economic growth, cost-effective, sustainable. Obviously, both are complementing each other. But how we are going to take growth? How we are going to basically exploit the benefit of these ports? Only when we will develop them in a cost-effective way. So that statement is correct. Statement 3 extends the objective of the statement number 1 by embedding them into a future. That is why we are talking about the Viksit Bharat na 2047. Because these initiatives take time. So definitely we are going to work today. We are going to work today in a cost-effective manner, sustainable manner, and that is why we are going to have benefit in the future. So both goals are completely aligned with each other. Statement 1 contradicts statement number 3 by focusing only on the traditional infrastructure instead of the modern. No, we need to have modern innovation, right? That is why we are going to compete in 2047 with the developed countries. Right? We need to have the most modern and most technically advanced infrastructure. So these are not actually contradicting with each other. They are some sort of complementing with each other. Sustainable means which is going for a long period of time. So here we are talking about 2047 and the cost effective way also, because this is how we are going to get more profit. So these statements are not basically contradicting with each other. They are some sort of complementing with each other. So option 2, 1 and 2 are correct. So I'm going to go with B. Okay. Now let's move to question number 11. In what ways does the Vizhinjam International Seaport represent a structural shift in India's maritime? Look, it was also in news. Vizhinjam port was in news. It was also in controversy also because Adani has taken, the contract of it, and it is basically starting it. Vizhinjam port was very much in news. So as a UPSC aspirant, I expect you to cover this topic in much detail. That is why I am seeing this topic on the easier side basically. And if you see, it was also covered in the major newspapers as well. And this topic was for 2025. Vizhinjam port handles 500th vessel set a national record in the deepest draft shift. This is one of the deepest draft shift in India. That is what makes it this port very special. This is Vizhinjam port. And if we see, we have this international transit route here. Okay, transit route here. And if you see like Singapore or Busan or Colombo or these some other ports as well, they are on this transit route and they make a lot of money because of that. So India wants to have a ultra modern automated port which is close to international transit route, so that we can also have the same benefit that Singapore, Busan or these Colombo, Dubai, these ports are having. So we want to develop such port. Now we have this Vizhinjam port which is in Kerala. That is there. Now look at the options. By functioning exclusively as a domestic cargo hub to reduce the reliance on the coastal shipping and eliminate the need for the foreign collaboration. By functioning exclusively as a domestic cargo hub. No, we are not focusing on domestic. This is international, right? Not domestic. So that statement is incorrect. So this is incorrect. This is also incorrect. Move to question number 2, statement number 2. By focusing primarily on passenger cruise tourism. No, it is not talking about passenger cruise. It is talking about cargo, international cargo, because this is basically international port. So I am going to reject this statement also. So I will be rejecting this 2 as well. We are left only with 3. By leveraging its natural deep draft strategy location to reduce dependence on the foreign transit shipment ports and hence revenue retention and the reposition India in a regional maritime trade. Yes, that statement is correct. So I will go with D. Anyways, let's move to question number 12. Which of the following are the most significant implications of that obtaining OECO-Tex certificate for Ari silk in the global textile industry? Extremely difficult question, and I would say it is a question which is not attemptable. It was not covering in any current affair. After searching a lot, I did not find any prominent article in any newspaper which is covering this. I only found this article from 2023 and it was from some international website. OECO-Tex sees 21% increase in the certificate and a label. Basically, what is this OECO-Tex? This is an international certification system which gives quality certificate to the silk products. And India is second largest producer of silk also, that we already know after China. India produces 4 types of silk. We have mulberry silk, we have this tassar silk, Eri silk and the Muga silk. Here we are specifically talking about the Eri silk. Eri silk is a silk which is also called Ahimsa silk. Sometimes people call it vegan silk also, peace silk also. Because what is happening in the Eri silk, we do not kill the larva, basically moth. Okay, this is the moth. While producing the silk, what we use this moth. Basically, this is the silkworm. It is making a cocoon, and it is a moth. What happens usually in the traditional silk, we kill this moth also. So what happens in the traditional silk, when this silk is going to make its own cocoon, this is going to make its own cocoon, we will boil it. We will collect the cocoon and we will boil it, so that moth inside the cocoon also dies. So violence is involved here. But what happens in Ari silk, we basically let grow this moth inside the cocoon. It will come out and it will fly away. We do not kill. So the rest of the thing, which is cocoon, we will take it out and we will boil it. This is how we make the this Eri silk. There is no violence involved here. That is why it is also called ahimsa silk or the peace silk. This is very unique kind of silk which is produced in India, especially northeastern states, Arunachal Pradesh or Nagaland, even West Bengal and Odisha also. And because we are getting this certificate for the Eri silk, we are going to have lot of export of this silk. This is how we are going to make lot of revenue out of it. So that was there. It allows Indian exporters to compete in the high-end markets that prioritize chemical-free products. Yes. It confirms that the Eri silk meets international safety, environment and the quality standards, enabling its entry into the premium eco-conscious market. Yes, that is also there. So option 2, both are actually correct. Anyway, let's move to question number 14. Which of the following statements about rare earth elements and the critical minerals are correct? Expected question, because rare earth element, permanent magnets, critical minerals are always in the news. So as a UPSC aspirant, this is our duty to cover this particular topic in much depth, because UPSC can ask a question and they did also. Anyways, so why we need critical minerals and rare earth elements? Because they are used in software, the semiconductor chips also, they are in the defense also, space also, the critical industry that we have these days, the cutting edge industry that we have these days. Critical minerals and the rare earth elements are at the center of it. They are at the center of it. They are at the center of it. Okay. Now, if we see modern technological innovations, including artificial intelligence, robotics, and space exploration, extensively utilize rare earth elements. Yes, that is there. Okay. China has the highest share in the mining of rare earth elements, followed by India. No, this is incorrect. We know China covers around 70% of this, but India is not at number 2. India is not at number 3, not at number 4, not at number 5. And it is China first, then there is America, then there are other countries, even Thailand is also there, Australia is also there. India is not there. India is at number 6. We are actually having less than 1% of rare earth elements in the world. So yes, that statement is going to be incorrect. So I will reject number 2. The government of India launched the National Critical Mineral Mission 2025 to establish a robust framework for the self-reliance in the critical mineral sector. That is true. Rare earth elements are a set of the 13 metallic elements. Okay. If you know, this statement is incorrect, because there is a lot of news which talks about we have 17 rare earth elements. Number 13 is coming out of thin air. UPSC has just made it up. We very well know there are 17 elements. We very well know we have these 15 lanthanians, then we have this scandium and the yttrium. We have 17. We have not 13. So this third statement is incorrect. Oh, sorry, fourth statement is incorrect. And there is 4, I will reject this. There is 4, I will reject this. And I will go with, and we very well know that the second statement is also incorrect. So second is incorrect. So I will go with 1 and 3. 1 and 3 only. So even if you know 2 statements, second and fourth are incorrect, you can reach to the right answer. So little bit elimination method is also working here. Anyways, let's move to the last question, question number 14. Consider the following statements about the river bridges connecting India with the neighboring countries. Again, I would say it's a difficult question. Very, very factual. And these facts are also not from current affairs also. Matlab, in last 2 years, they are not covered. And if you see, we have some article here, 2024. Maitri Setu, Agartala, Akhura. It was there as well in other question also. Rail link to be made operational soon. Tripura CM Manik is saying there. And if you read it, the trial in the Agartala Akhora railway link has already been completed. It will also be made operational soon and all that. Anyways, Uttarakhand. Facial recognition system trial begins on the India-Nepal border at the Jhula Ghat bridge. So these two articles that I found actually. And if you see, this is the part of this basically. So we have Calcutta and the Situi and everything. And if you see here, we have a river which is called Feni River. On Feni River, we have these 2 points. We have this point called Sabrum, okay, which is part of Tripura, and we have this Ramgarh, which is part of the Bangladesh. Okay, so Maitri Setu built over the Feni River connecting Ramgarh in India and the Sabrum. No, that is incorrect because UPSC has this habit of basically word playing. Ramgarh is in Bangladesh, Sabrum is in India, Tripura. So this statement is incorrect. I would say this is incorrect, this is incorrect. Jhulaghat suspension bridge connects India with Myanmar. It connects with Nepal actually. Nepal. So the second statement is also incorrect. So I would say this is also incorrect. I am left with only 3. Mechi bridge and its approach connect Panikanti bypass in India and the Kakravita in Nepal. That is actually correct. If you see, go to the Bangladesh. So if you look, so we have Jhulaghat, we have this Jhulaghat here. And if you see, we have this Mechi Pul, Mechi bridge, which is basically if you see the West Bengal and Nepal. Okay, it is connecting both. This is Mechi River. We have Kakribita on the Nepal side and Panikanti on the Indian, which is West Bengal side. So yes, that statement is there. So we are left with answer number D. This was the last question of the day. So yes, we have seen few things here. And I did not expect this discussion to go to a little bit on the longer side, but being a teacher of geography, sometimes I get emotional. I go into too much of detail, which was not needed. But anyways, few things that we are learning from this paper. First, you need to focus on mapping. Mapping is very crucial. Okay, international mapping also, which is coming from the IR perspective as well and domestic as well. Mapping is extremely important from now onwards. Along with physical geography, you must also look for the topics of human geography as well, or economic geography especially. So they will be mixing economy, geography and current affairs. And current affair of 2 years is actually important. Already most of the students know this, but if you don't know it, 1 year current affair will not work now. At least focus on 2 years of current affairs. Questions are going to be very factual as well. Most of the questions are very factual, but if you have your basics cleared, if you have your base very strong, only then you will be able to attempt these kind of questions. And you need to have relaxed mind in your exam. For that, what you need to do? You need to attempt as many tests as possible before the exam. If you have attempted enough test series, enough test before exam, your mind understands the pressure. You will be easily able to handle the pressure. And this year, pressure was there. Paper was lengthy, difficult also, pattern was changed. So students who have calmed their mind, who are basically having a calm mind in the paper, I am 100% sure that they might be able to correct 2 or 3 questions more just because of their relaxed, the mindset. So you need to do these sort of things. Otherwise, I am not suggesting that you need to change your sources, you like in a paramount way. But no, focus on the same resources. Just try to change your approach little bit, how you approach a particular topic, and that's this. Okay, so that is all for this. Thank you very much. All the best. And if you have any suggestion or any feedback, please tell me in the comment box. I'll be trying to improve that in the future. But that is all for this video. Thank you. Jai Hind.